The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Art of War. We have a super exciting one here today as we are going to be talking about the top 10 stratagems in Warhammer 40k, and boy, are there a lot of excellent ones.
Indeed there are. Happy Tier List Tuesday, Richard. I'm excited for this. We're going to be breaking down stratagems from every detachment in the game. We're going to be looking around for them, finding the very best ones for you.
We scoured. We did
indeed. One
of the things to mention here is if you're joining us, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. In addition, leave a comment below letting us know what your favorite stratagem, what do you think is the best one in your local meta? We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to see these stratagems in action, you can check out the War Room at thewarroom.vhx.tv. There's a 3-day free trial, and in addition to content for every faction in the game, you can also access our international Discord community, our TTS League, loyalty program, all the amazing stuff you get as a member.
Here in the War Room, you can even see the Streamhouse RTT that's just finishing up this week. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and see another game from that tomorrow right here.
Now, John, we've gone ahead and we've done a little bit of criteria for this top 10 stratagems. And if you remember, we did this probably like a year or so ago. And when we did that, there's some stratagems that overlap in 40k where they do this amazing thing, but there's several different variants of it.
Absolutely, and we put a limit on ourselves that we can only put one of each, let's say, archetype of each stratagem into this list. So if Blood Angels have fallback and charge, that's really good. If World Leaders have fallback and charge, that's really good. If Orcs have fallback and charge, well, only one of these is actually making the list. Of course, I don't even think all of those are real, but
you just made the idea. Let's just like Games Workshop does.
Orcs don't fall back in charge. Everyone knows that.
All right, let's dive in here, starting with the honorable mentions. It is going to be core stratagems in this section. Several of them are good enough to make the top 10 and possibly even the number 1 slot. However, we haven't put them in there just to give a little more flexibility for the faction stratagems that are quite amazing and are very interesting and unique. Let's dive in here, starting with Heroic Intervention. There was a huge update in, I believe, the June 2024 update, where this stratagem was previously 2 CP. It was very impactful when it occurred, but it was often pricey and difficult to use multiple times. At 1 CP, however, my God, I am always thinking about heroic interventions. I want to contest an objective, and by making a charge move, all right, I have to think about the heroics. I want to go kill something. Okay, fight first is a huge problem. My opponent's going to heroic this unit in and swing first. It is completely game-changing at 1 CP, and it is something that whatever army I'm playing, it is at the forefront of my brain how they are going to use this stratagem against me to try and stop my plans.
Yeah, Heroic Intervention is massive. The really big thing about it is that it gives you an opportunity to do damage in your opponent's turn. Now, that's kind of similar to another stratagem. Yeah, and move. It's kind of similar to a stratagem like Overwatch, where it can do damage in your opponent's turn. Now, this one is harder to use, but it's so much more reliable when you actually use it. That's what really makes it great, I think.
Absolutely. Getting a full, like, your Judiciar with your Inner Circle companions and Dark Angels. They heroically intervene into this nonsense. They kill it. They move on to the middle objective. They score you primary.
Howling Banshees.
It can result in so many huge swing moments, primary swings. It could deny secondaries. It could deny, a unit that was going to be in a position to go interact with your army. Nope, no longer. It's just gone, and you're aggressively pushing into them now. It's game-changing. And that's why it's going to make this list.
All right. Now, the next honorable mention here, another core stratagem, is Rapid Ingress. Probably my favorite core stratagem. Wow. Rapid Ingress, of course, is what allows you to put a unit that is in reserves on the table like normal at the end of your opponent's movement phase, which is great because now they can't move something else to respond. This is game defining. This really shapes opponent strategy. I kind of have a rule for myself where I always put one thing in reserve so that I can threaten a Rapid Ingress. So my opponent has to screen, has to prepare for it, has to think about it. One unit in reserves, you don't even have to use a stratagem, defines the game because that unit, instead of just arriving and rolling a 9-inch charge, which you're always going to fail and your opponent's always going to pass because we all know how this goes. Instead, it's, oh yeah, I can Rapid Ingress 9 away with my Terminators and now they move 5 in charge. Oh, wow, 4-inch charge. I think I will pay a CP for that. Plus 5-inch charge, I would do it.
The famous Death Shroud Terminators, naturally slow. They're going to actually be able to make a charge this time.
This is the only way, truly. And so just massively impactful stratagem. It really can be used to set up a good push because you can get an arrival and then move and go. And you can use this rapid ingress to go down after your opponent has moved so they can't adjust.
Yeah.
You get to see where their guns can't see, and that's where you arrive. Look at that. That's where I want to teleport, not in front of the guns.
Absolutely. This can be used to set up plays to contest their primary, to go kill certain enemy units, to be in a position to score points when you otherwise would. Ooh, I'm not going to be able to, my opponent's screened, they're behind enemy lines, I'm never going to get this. Cool, rapid ingress, now I walk into it. Your imagination is as powerful as a stratagem, is basically what is going on here. Amazing.
One more honorable mention.
One more, and that is going to be the old humble command point reroll. And we've previously ranked this extremely highly. It is one of the absolute best stratagems in the game and possibly the number one stratagem in the game. It is highly contextual. If, for instance, you need to make a charge that is going to get secure no man's land, storm hostile, and deny your opponent 5 primary points, that is worth as many CP as I could spend on it, frankly.
I would pay 3 CP to turn a failed charge into a pass charge.
You would spend it because
I would do it.
If that many points is aligned with this single play, you have to make it. And because of that, the CP reroll is worth as many points as you can spend on it. But not every moment. You can spend a 4-up, rerolling a 4-up invuln on something that still might not die from this activation. That's a lot less valuable than a play that's lined up on a ton of points. I see a lot of people go down the rabbit hole of just spending tons of CP rerolls on things that ultimately don't really matter or aren't directly related to points. And in that case, CP reroll can be quite of a trap, is what I've seen.
It is the best and worst stratagem in the game, which gives it an honorable mention. So many times I've seen the Overwatch into command point rerolling the shot count of the Flamers. Who's ever rerolled a 1 into a 1, right?
Heck yeah, baby.
We're on to number 10 of the top 10 list. We're going to go with site-to-site teleportation from the Black Spear Task Force. This is the Death Watch stratagem. Not only did they bring back this entire stratagem, this entire detachment, this entire faction from the grave, thank you, Games Workshop, it's still pretty good. Site-to-site teleportation is the best in class for going back into reserves.
Going back into reserves is a classic. Most of the armies that have it, it's usually one of your faction's best detachments. This rule forces your opponent to screen all game. It allows you to get into their backfield in late game, opening up all those points like behind enemy lines, established locus, and whatnot. And all of a sudden, your opponent is either pinning key resources back the entire game to stop this, or at some point they just let it happen. And if you have this stratagem, you're getting behind them, you're taking away primary, you're killing resources that otherwise wouldn't die. It is one of the best, obviously, stratagems in the game.
Absolutely. Now, there's a reason why site-to-site teleportation is the best one we could find. There are 3 reasons why, actually, and it checks all the boxes. 1, it allows 2 units to teleport, not just 1.
Pretty rare.
This is like a detachment rule for a CP. I'm just saying. Of course, they do have to be 2 kill team units, but if you're playing Deathwatch, that's usually not the biggest hoop to jump through.
Yep.
Number 2, it doesn't say those units have to arrive immediately. This means that you can save them for later. You can always bring something up on turn 1 and just say, yeah, I'll just leave it there until, I don't know, turn 5. Also allowing more rapid ingresses later. We already mentioned that. 3, it also gives the units deep strike if they arrive in the next movement phase. So yeah, there's an incentive to arrive sooner, but you could bring up 2 units. If one of them has a captain, this is a free stratagem. And then one of them can deep strike now. One of them can ingress later. One of them can just wait around until it's needed. Sky's the limit.
And the great thing about Deathwatch and other armies that have access to go back into reserve is if you have strong shooting units that can benefit from this, you are able to pick away at angles, deliver damage at spaces that you otherwise wouldn't. And the threat of that throughout an entire game is often very difficult for armies that don't have much screening.
Yeah, this is very much a type of stratagem that is much better on shooting units than combat units. Ask Blood Angels and Hypercrypt how they feel about their detachment role. And it's very different for these 2 armies. Deathwatch, primarily shooting-based infantry bricks that hit very hard and aren't necessarily mobile. Biggest beneficiary possible from this type of stratagem. This is army defining.
Absolutely. So if you do have a go back into reserve type of stratagem, 100% you should be using it. It is one of the best things you can have access to. Moving on to number 9 is going to be the Pall of Dread, which is a stratagem you can access with the Inari detachment. And in it, it gives you sticky objectives, which effectively means that if you die on the objective and your opponent doesn't have anything on there or it doesn't have enough OC on there, you get to control that objective until your opponent actually takes it away and puts something out there. Which means if you're a shooting army, let's think about some guard tanks that are just rolling up. All right, I want to shoot these disgusting elves off this objective. Boom, big damage. Well, I better have put something on there because they are going to stick you that objective and control it for their primary heading into their command phase.
Yeah. Now, this obviously synergizes well with the whole Inari detachment, but this is good wherever you find it. This type of rule also exists in War Leaders.
Yep.
And I actually believe that there's a Sisters detachment with a similar rule as well.
Absolutely.
And this is a fantastic stratagem because it forces action out of the opponent. It's one thing to step onto no man's land and get shot away and say, hey, I made you bring out a gun. That has value, not zero. Now you're also forcing something to come onto the objective. Now, what are they going to do? Are they going to drive the Leman Russ onto the center objective? Bad idea. Or are they going to bring out 2 guard units for the Inari to feast on? Either way, the Inari player is happy, and they probably lost a Ranger squad or 3 jet bikes or a Warlock. They're probably not that sad. And hey, if you play around it, they just don't spend the CP. And if you don't play around it, they get 5 primary.
And they're happy either way.
They are good.
There's a lot of elite armies in the game that don't have the extra cheap units to put out there early onto objectives turn after turn, and you will eventually get ground down by a rule like this.
Yep. And if you do send out your cheap units, well, you're going to have a lot of problems later.
Yep, scoring points.
This is great for helping the armies that have it dictate the pace of the game.
Absolutely.
Now we're on to number 8 on our top 10 list. We're going to go ahead and roll out Knights of Shade. And again, this is one of those stratagems where there are many like it, but this is the OG. This is the best one. Everything else is a pale imitation of Knights of Shade. Knights of Shade allows me to move 1 Chaos Knight through terrain and enemy models in either the movement or the charge phase. In 2 phases, that's pretty good, right? But wait, there's more. Instead of 1 Chaos Knight, I could choose 2 Chaos Knights as long as they both have the War Dog keyword.
Wait, do you run those?
I do. 13 of them usually. And so suddenly this is another stratagem that allows you to target 2 things and give them a unit defining movement ability. Just like you could teleport 2 slow infantry things, now you can move your fast vehicles through walls and models. A thing you can't do unless you use Knights of Shade. And suddenly the entire army is different. And this is phenomenal. It's both phases. I can do it after I roll the charge roll in case I roll low and decide I don't want to spend a CP on this. I can save the CP. I can use it to hide my dogs and then pop out at full speed. Very, very good staging ability with this stratagem. As well, it's a lot harder to move block this army. Nick would tell you that is the classic way to deal with an all-vehicle army. You just move block them. It's easy. Well, now you have to move block where I am, but also where I can land. And now you're using multiple units now. And hey, I don't even care that you move block me anymore because there's multiple units in front of me. I'm just going to shoot them.
Yeah, on the terrain density of modern formats, especially like a WTC or such, this is a crucial strategy to be able to get past that halfway point, past all those layers of ruins, and actually attack your opponent's half of the board.
Yeah, this just solves the biggest problem of an all-vehicle playstyle. Now, we see this strategy in other places. It is quite good in Solar Spearhead. It is quite good in a lot of the new Demon detachments. It's a good rule.
Heck yeah, it is.
Chaos Knights love it the most because we don't have any infantry hanging around. And they also love it the most because theirs is better than everyone else's. Both
2
phases, 2 War Dogs. That's like 4 things moving through walls in a turn if I got 2 CP spare, which I will.
You definitely.
What else am I spending it on? It's this stratagem.
Moving on to number 7. It is one of my favorite stratagems in the entire game. It is Pinpoint Counteroffensive from Tao's Monka detachment. And this stratagem means that if your opponent kills any of your non-crew units, you get full rerolls to hit against them for the rest of the game with your entire army. Which means Overwatch, your shooting phase, in combat even, John, in combat, I'm popping off.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair here. 1 CP reroll hits for 1 unit just when you use it. That would be a good stratagem. I think Tau would actually like that stratagem.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, you might have to donate some Vespid to the cause, but yeah, that's what they're there for. And now your whole army gets it. Now, I know theoretically this is for the rest of the game, but let's be honest, Once you mess up and proc this stratagem, well, you're probably not making it the rest of the game, are you?
You probably are not. And even if, let's say you kill a cheap resource and then you kind of hide, it means in the late game when Tau might not have all their buffs active, you're still getting hit with full efficiency. It is really darn good. Now, there are other stratagems like this in the game. Some of them are +1 to hit, +1 to wound, such as the Canoptic Court one, but you have to kill a Cryptek, which is a lot harder to do than any Tau unit that isn't Crute.
Yeah.
The Tau player, or in this case, any of the players, can literally, I could charge a Piranha into 10 possessed. Okay, I'm dying to the possessed, 4 reels to hit.
Yeah. You just shove it on a center objective. Like, yeah, you have to kill me, it's fine.
Yeah.
Did your unit that killed me is now in line of sight of a Riptide? Unlucky.
Dead. Yeah. This stratagem is absolutely fantastic, and it's one of the ways to continuously punch up above your weight class for some lower strength or lower AP weapons. It just makes them do a lot more, especially if you combine it with lethals or sustained.
Yeah, this is a good type of stratagem. We see it in a lot of places. Final Day has a version where if you kill a Tyrannid character, you can get +1 wound against it. Assimilation to Swarm, something similar for Tyrannids, with +1 wound against something that kills a Harvester unit. But Tyrannid characters and Harvester units aren't the same as not Crute.
Very different.
That's where the value comes in.
Absolutely. So I think this is the moneymaker for the Moncad detachment, but it is if you have strong debuffs like that just let your army proc onto an opponent's unit, fantastic.
Number 6 on our tier list is a very niche stratagem that got a double take out of us when this codex first came out. We are talking about Displacer Fields from the Imperialis Fleet Detachment of Imperial Agents. Now, I'm sure some people don't even know what that means, which is why we're about to tell you. So, if you shoot at an Imperial Agent's infantry unit with a character attached, okay, we got some hoops here. They get a 4+ invulnerable save for a command point. That is a very good stratagem. I'm halfway done. When you're done shooting them, they also get to make a normal move of up to 6 inches. What? This is just 2 for 1, right? This is value time.
This is fantastic. It is basically the best stratagem in Imperial Agents and in the best detachment, luckily for them.
Yeah, this is really good value. This is a great defensive stratagem. 1 CP, 4-up invulnerable save when you get shot. Now, this is a character unit, which in this detachment means it's either going to be like a Death Watch veteran squad, and hey, 1 CP, give 10 Space Marines a 4-up invuln. That's a good stratagem I would pay for. You know what it's even better on? Cheap people. Just like Breachers.
Imperial Navy Breachers, yeah.
I don't know, like a Subductor squad. Just like something cheap. Like if you just take your 10 fancy kill team guardsmen with a navigator attached and say, I'd actually like a 4-up invuln and you can only shoot me once before I move. Sure hope that's not on a squad that can like heal models back. I went and touched the center objective. Oh, you shot me at 4-up invuln and I backed up. Oh, wow, you didn't kill 15 4-up invuln guardsmen with 1 activation? You fool, I heal onto the objective.
And you didn't put anything out there.
Yeah, why would you? Oh, you put something out there like, well, +1 OC. These models I'm healing are actually 3 OC each. I mean, incredible stratagem.
Or if you don't commit enough, they just yeet all the way onto the objective or closer to you, and they're going to hit you the next turn.
You can use this to make charging harder. You can use this to get into a transport. God help the fool who activates that. You can use this to get out of line of sight. You can use it to get closer.
It's a block a charge.
Yeah, it's a move in your opponent's turn, which means the limit is your creativity.
Now, there are 2 other versions of this, at least in the game. Custodes and Necrons have a variant, but those ones are only D6 instead of flat 6 after you were shot, which is significantly different. Flat 6 is where really it's super good.
That D6 reactive move in Lines of the Emperor for Custodes is one of the best parts of the detachment. And it's not flat 6 with a 4-up invuln. Now, the Custodes wouldn't care about the 4-up invuln, but I tell you what, that Imperial Navy Breacher loves it. Very grateful for a 4-up invuln on my 4-up armor friends.
Let's just thank Games Workshop for actually giving Imperial Agents 1 silver lining here.
Absolutely, they did. This is it.
Moving on to the top 5. At number 5 is Relentless Assault from the Space Wolves Champions of Rust detachment. This is a fantastic one because guess what? First of all, it gives you access to advance, fallback, and charge. And when you have these rules combined, being flexible enough, ooh, my opponent tied me up, or I charged into something but didn't finish it off, I can still do what I need to do, is critical. Fallback, shoot, and do things is one of the best things to have in this game, and every single army in the game would appreciate having it.
Yeah, this is the stratagem. Every time I get a new codex, I'm looking through the detachments to find out which detachment has this type of stratagem. Who gets to advance and act, who gets to fall back and act. Sometimes they're different stratagems.
Usually.
In this case, we think that Relentless Assault is the best version of this in the game. On its face, it's just fall back and act, but if you have Saga of the Warrior Born up, that's when you get advance and act. And is that difficult to do?
That is usually pretty difficult to access. Most armies don't have ways to do it, certainly on anything that they want. And overall, the easiest thing in this detachment is play your Champions of Rust and just pick to start with it. Okay, cool. I've sustained. In addition, I get the best part of this stratagem as well.
Yeah.
And it's automatic.
It's automatic, and this is the best of that type. But again, fallback shoot is a defining characteristic of a guard detachment as a stratagem. This is 4 things. That's one thing, and it's one of the best parts of guard.
Absolutely. Votann have fallback, 1 CP, fallback, shoot, and charge, and is probably their best stratagem.
Yep. This is just money in the bank. Being able to access this makes or breaks an army.
Absolutely.
All right, up next on our list is number 4, Fire and Fade. This one spans editions. It's just always good. Fire and Fade is an Eldari stratagem from the Warhost detachment. Now what this does is after you get shoot with an Eldar unit, you get to make a move of d6 plus 1. There are some hoops. You don't get to charge after you do this, but you can walk out, you can shoot, and then you can move back behind the wall. Crucially, there is no limit on this normal move other than d6 plus 1, so you could get in a transport. Now, even if you roll the 1 on your move, you would still, since it's d6 plus 1, get to go behind a wall. Worry not, Eldar players, rolling a 1 is no inconvenience for you. Instead, you can just step out your Dark Reapers, your Fire Dragons, you can kill all of my models, and then you can go back to make sure not a single elf life is wasted in this process.
They say Eldar are fragile, but guess what? If your opponent can't interact with your units, you're not that fragile anymore.
That is true. Walls are durable. That's what I've learned.
Extremely.
Elves are fragile and walls are durable. This really allows Eldar and the other armies that have access to a similar stratagem to build around a shooting unit that they can use all the time. Now, if you send out 6 units to shoot and one of them fire and fades, your opponent is still getting shot back. But what really matters is that if you send out one thing, shoot, and then leave to safety, you're taking no casualties and your opponent is taking some. That's great for playing a protracted game of Warhammer. We do see similar rules to this in a few other places. I believe that Tau have a similar one.
They do. They have a 2 CP version.
That's good. Still a great stratagem, actually. But 1 CP is better. And this one lets you get in a transport.
Yeah, some versions have full normal moves, some are restricted on certain movement, but basically wherever you see this, it is often a faction-defining stratagem because it allows you to keep resources alive or go contest objectives, get around, Overwatch plays. Kind of sky's the limit with how creative you can get with this. Moving on to number 3, we have Opportunistic Raiders from Chaos Space Marines, a Renegade Raiders detachment, and boy is this a strong one, allowing you to fall back at the end of the fight phase and effectively free up your unit. You can do basically anything. You set up, you go forward, you go attack an objective that you otherwise wouldn't. You come back, you get behind a wall. Now your opponent can't interact with you. This stratagem is absolutely fantastic. It allows for massive movement potential, especially on speedy units like things with jump packs or bikes. And it also allows you to sometimes go do tag plays, score points where you otherwise wouldn't have. It's a fantastic tool. And unlike Fire and Fade, you can actually go forward, get your shooting damage, charge into something, get your charging value with your fight phase damage, and then you make a move.
Yeah. The most boring use of Opportunistic Raiders is fall back and charge, because you fell back at the end of the fight phase and then you get to remain stationary or a normal move and then shoot and charge. And that's the most boring thing you could do with it. It can also be a double move. It could also be Fire and Fade after I charge and kill you. The possibilities are endless.
This is absolutely amazing everywhere you see it. There's a Tau version called Interlocking Maneuvers in the Auxiliary Contra detachment. That is absolutely fantastic. All sorts of nonsense can happen when you're charging things your opponent doesn't expect you to charge with. Yeah. Something that's maybe not going to do a ton of damage in combat, but it's charging into something like a Rhino that won't do much damage back. And all of a sudden, I'm just getting free fallback moves off of this.
Yeah, move, block, contest objectives. No, you didn't tag me, and because you tried, I'm going to go steal your home field. I guess.
Stuff that can go back into reserves when it's outside of engagement range.
Man, that would be good, wouldn't it? There's even some craziness where you get to make a full fallback or normal move. You can make it desperate to get over a move block. If someone, let's say, tags a Vindicator, you can use this to fall back 9 over the guardsman that tagged you. Now you're on the other side of them. Hey, it's my turn. I advance and shoot directly into your backfield. This is strong.
This is very strong, and it is deservedly one of the best stratagem archetypes in the entire game.
We are down to our final 2 stratagems. Number 2 is Devastating Sorcery, 1,000 Sun stratagem from their index detachment. This is really simple. You can reroll your hits and your wounds when you shoot someone with a psychic weapon. That's it. It's just reroll hits and wounds.
This is so outside the bounds of the current game of 40K. This is so Index Hammer. This is broken.
This is 9th edition. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is a 9th edition stratagem that they just didn't change.
1 CP, John?
I mean, look, we all know that Thousand Suns don't have that many psychic weapons. I'm sure this is situational. And even if they did, I'm sure they couldn't make all their bolt guns into psychic weapons if they really needed to.
Or get +1 to hit, +1 to wound on that.
Crazy. Of course, this is even better in Thousand Suns because they have extra effects that proc. Critical hits or critical wound abilities love having rerolls, which is great because Thousand Suns can choose between sustained or dev wounds for their psychic weapons. Only the things you can use the strat on, don't worry. Anytime they want. So I mean, I don't even know what to say.
There's no limit. You can use this on Magnus, on a full rubric squad.
The only limit is psychic weapons.
Yes.
There are several full reroll the hit and wound stratagems in this game. Most of them are when you get out of a transport and hit something on an objective marker. Actually, Renegade Raiders has that. So does Astra Militarum. That is a little situational. You got to jump through 2 hoops, and when you do, that's a pretty good stratagem.
Yeah. This is
one hoop.
Wide open, baby.
And the hoop is in army design. You say, yeah, I'm going to take the things with psychic weapons, and you're playing Thousand Suns, so good luck finding them.
Basically, every time I play against Thousand Suns, this stratagem is the most used.
5
easily.
times.
It's just, I'm using this. I'm pressing the button, usually on Magnus, but could totally be on other stuff.
The best case scenario is that they use the stratagem 4 times, not 5. Why would you not?
You know, Thousand Suns players have paid for the sins of this stratagem, Cabal points, and Magnus, but those 3 things are amazing still.
How is this never the part that got nerfed? Like, let's raise Rubric Marines for the 49th time instead of making this 2 CP.
Yeah, they're like, we're just going to make it more elite. We can't change this. We cannot make this more expensive.
There's a reason we have this as the 2nd best stratagem in the game of Warhammer.
Literally would be I just press this for every army in the game.
There is not an army in the game that would say no to this. Speaking of which.
Moving on to number 1, it is the Mists of Deimos from the Grey Knights Index detachment. And my God, is this one of the best stratagems that Games Workshop has really ever thought of.
This is the one.
Best right now in 10th edition. It is the best. And by golly, is it fantastic. So it gives you 2 options. The first is a full 6-inch reactive move if your opponent ends within 9 inches of you, a normal advance or fallback. That's great. The reactive move stratagems across the game are some of the most utilized and best stratagems you can access. But with Mists of Deimos, you can do an entire second thing instead, which is go back into reserves.
Wow.
On an army with Deep Strike, with access to rapid ingress.
We mentioned that one already.
Charge buffs. This stratagem is pretty darn nutty. Your opponent goes ahead, forces this in the movement phase, and then you're like, I have a unit just sitting in reserves, John. What might I do with it?
Deep Strike, rapid ingress it, put it on the table, put it back into reserves. I don't know. Whatever you want with Mist of Deimos.
This is a 5 turns out of the game. If you can use it, you will use it. It is the CP that you are always saving that just says miss on it. You do not spend the CP, you save it, and you say, what would my opponent like to do? Oh, I'm strung out on multiple objectives that my opponent wants to go do an action. They want to get area denial. Well, they're going to have to end within 10 inches or within 9 inches of my 10-man Terminator unit. Cool. Mists of Deimos. They didn't commit enough. I'm just going to reactive them behind the wall or get wholly on this objective if I really need to. Like, the trickery is endless.
There are times where you don't need to go into reserve. Sometimes just backing up 6 and saying, well, you were 7 inches away, now you're 13 inches away. You're not charging me. And you don't have anyone else set up to do this. It's incredible. This makes the Grey Knight Index detachment. It's what kept it viable in the face of those Grey Knight data sheets.
And still viable. This stratagem is, I don't know how they conjured it, but the Games Workshop designers, this thing is a thing of beauty as a Grey Knight player. I know every non-Grey Knight player despises this, just hates it. It's so annoying to play against. Yeah. Just think about playing against Eldar, but like ramp it back up.
Yeah, with Terminator armor. And you end up with this kind of archetype, the 6-inch reactive move, being one of the best stratagems in the game. And going to reserves is one of the best stratagems in the game. And the timing of this is just peanut butter and jelly. Like the flat 6 reactive move when someone moves the 9 view. I
annoying.
would say that would not have been the best stratagem in the game, but it probably would have made the list. Right?
Possibly top 5.
It defines Stormlance. It defines Talons of the Emperor. It is just very good. And here, we also can go into reserves.
It reminds me of the Imperial Agent stratagem we had mentioned, where it just combines 2 amazing things, and wow, is it just automatic at that point.
Yeah, best stratagem in the game.
Hope everybody enjoyed this list. If you are joining us here, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow.
Leave that comment. Let us know which more DACA thing you think should have taken over the game instead.
We'll see you all next time. So long for now.
Bye-bye.